Good day, everyone. I am Levi Joy from Group 4, and today I am going to discuss the politics in applied economics. So, in applied economics, politics play a crucial role in shaping the implementation and effectiveness of economic policies and theories. Here are some key ways politics intersects with applied economics. So, first is policy formation. Policy formation, political decision drive the formulation and enactment of political and economic policies. For example, in the United States, the decision to implement the Affordable Care Act or ACA in 2010 was heavily influenced by political considerations. The policy aimed to reform and passage through Congress were shaped by political ideologies and negotiations among different interests and groups. Second is policy implementation. Even well designed economic policies may force challenges during implementation due to political consideration. For example, the implementation of carbon pricing schemes aimed at reducing greenhouse gas emissions often faces opposition from industry heavily reliant on fossil fuels. Political pressure from these interest groups can hinder the effective execution of such policies, as seen in debates over carbon taxes or cap and trade system. Third is the regulation and deregulation. Political agendas influence the level and scope of regulation in various sectors in the economy. For example, in the banking sector, the repeal of the Glass-Steagall Act in 1999 under the Gramm-Leach-Bailey Act reflected the shift toward deregulation. This political decision allowed commercial banks to engage in investment banking activities, contributing to the build-up of risk that culminated in the 2008 financial crisis. Fourth is the public spending and taxation. Political priorities determine government spending priorities and taxation policies. For example, during election campaigns, political parties often propose changes to tax policies to appeal to voters. For instance, debates over raising or lowering income tax rates and corporate taxes reflect competing political ideologies regarding wealth distribution and economic growth. So fifth is trade and international relation. International trade policies including traffics, trade agreements, and sanction are shaped by geographical and consideration and diplomatic relationship between countries. Political tensions and negotiations can affect trade flows, economic integration, and global economic stability. So, so trade international relations in international trade policies are shaped by geographical consideration and diplomatic relationship between countries. So, for example, the ongoing trade tensions between the United States and China was led to traf- tariff being imposed on each other's goods. These measures, driven the political motivation, such as addressing trade imbalance and protecting domestic industries, have significant economic implication for global supply chain and consumer prices. Sixth is monetary policy. Central bank responsible for implementing monetary policy operation with the political context. Political pressures such as calls for low interest rates to stimulate economic growth or concern about inflation can influence central bank's decision, although bank often aim to for independence to maintain credibility and effectiveness. So, so it is a for example, the Federal Reserve in the United States often faces calls from politicians to adjust interest rate to stimulate economic growth or control inflation. However, central growth or control inflation, our banks strive for independence to maintain credibility and make decisions based on economic indicators rather than short-term political consideration. So, the last one is the behavioral economics. Understanding political behavior is essential for behavioral economists studying how individuals and groups make economic decisions. Political factors such as identity, social norms, and institutional frameworks can influence economic choices and outcomes. So, example for that is in voting behavior, individuals may make decisions not solely based on economic interest but also in political identity. Social norms and perceptions of candidates, trustworthiness, and so on. Understanding this political factor is essential for predicting electoral outcome and designing effective campaign strategies. So, to conclude, in applied economics, analyzing the interplay between politics and economic phenomena is crucial for developing realistic models, designing effective policies, and anticipating the impacts of political changes in economic variables.
Economics and applied economics. In applied economics, economic theories, principles, and methodologies are utilized to address real-world problems, make policy recommendations, and inform decision-making processes. Here are some key aspects of economics and applied economics. First is the policy analysis. Applied economics analyze the effects of various policies on economic outcomes. They use economic models and empirical methods to evaluate the potential impacts of policy interventions in areas such as taxation, healthcare, education, environmental regulation, and labor markets. This analysis is typically involves using economic models, data analysis, techniques, and empirical research to inform policymakers about the potential consequences of different policy choices. And it often aims to provide recommendations on the design and implementation of policies achieve specific economic objectives such as promoting economic efficiency, equity, or stability. Cost-benefit analysis. Economists conduct cost-benefit analysis to assess the efficiency of public projects, policies, and regulations. By comparing the costs and benefits associated with different courses of action, policymakers can make informed decisions about resource allocation and prioritization. So, ang cost-benefit analysis is mao'y naglakip sa pagsusi sa mga benepisyo o gasto nga kauban sa pagpatuman sa usa ka patakaran o proyekto. And also, it entails the balancing positive effects or benefits such as income growth or environmental improvement against negative effects or costs such as income loss or environmental degradation. Pinaagi niini nga pagsusi ang mga desisyon sa patakaran o proyekto mamahimong gibasihan sa rasyonal nga pagpili. Diin ang mga benepisyo is mas dakong panahon nga mahitungod sa mga gasto nga nagresulta sa mas maayo ug epektibo nga paggamit sa scarce resource and assets. Next is the market analysis. Applied economists study market dynamics to understand supply and demand factors, pricing mechanisms, competition, and market structure. They analyze market failures such as monopolies or externalities and propose regulatory or antitrust measures to improve market efficiency and welfare. Market analysis aims to gather information kabahin sa mga customer ug ang iyang kakompetensya na mga opportunities sa mga merkado aron makahatag o basihan alang sa mga desisyon sa negosyo o patakaran sa ekonomiya. Furthermore, market analysis informs potential effects on market policies or business strategies. 4. Forecasting and economic indicators. Economists develop forecasting models and utilize economic indicators to predict future economic trends such as GDP growth, inflation, unemployment rates, and consumer spending. These forecasts inform business strategies, government policies, and investment decision. So, kini gipanggamit aron masabtan ang posibleng mga future trends or scenarios sa maong economy. Ang forecasting is nagtumong sa pag-estimate sa mga resulta sa ekonomiya base sa iyang current data. That is, forecasting and economic indicators. Development economics. Applied economists study the economic development of countries and regions, examining factors such as poverty, inequality, economic growth, industrialization, and trade. And they analyze the effectiveness of development policies and interventions aimed at reducing poverty and promoting sustainable development. Development economics involves studying methods and strategies in promote economic growth and achieve prosperity in countries, especially those termed as developing countries. These include examining factors that contribute to poverty or hinder development, such as unemployment, hunger, lack of education, and healthcare services. Next is the health economics. Economics is applied to the analysis of healthcare systems, healthcare markets, and health policy. Health economists evaluate the efficiency, equity, and cost effectiveness of healthcare interventions, insurance schemes, and healthcare delivery models. Health economists evaluate the costs and benefits of healthcare intervention, measure the effects of healthcare policies and changes, and advise patients, providers, and governments on their decisions using economic theories and methodologies. Sunod sa limitasyon sa pag-budget, ang tumong mao ang pag-optimize sa pag-allocate sa mga kagamitan aron mapalambo ang health o well-being within sa isa ka community. Next is the environmental economics. Applied economists study environmental issues such as pollution, climate change, and natural resource management. And they develop economic tools such as carbon pricing mechanisms or COP and trade systems to address environmental externalities and promote sustainable development. What it says that environmental economists involve studying the integration between the environment and the economy and its implications for understanding and addressing environmental problems. This includes examining the costs and benefits of environmental conservation, natural resource utilization, pollution abatement, and balancing environmental preservation with economic development. Next is the labor economics, and the last. Economists analyze labor markets, employment trends, wages, and human capital investments, and they study factors influencing labor supply and demand, such as technological change, education, immigration, and labor market policies. This field examines various aspects such as labor supply and demand, wage determination, human capital development, labor market, and discrimination and unemployment, as what it said. Labor economic analyze factors influencing employment trends, labor force participation, and income inequality. They also assess the impact of labor market regulations, minimum wage laws, unemployment insurance, and other related policies on the economy. And in applied economics, economic analysis is integrated with other disciplines such as political science, sociology, and public policy to provide holistic solutions to complex societal challenges. By applying economic principles to real world problems, applied economists contribute to evidence based policymaking and advancement of economic welfare.
So, good day everyone. Today I am going to discuss about understand the interaction of politics and the economy. So, the interaction between politics and economy is intricate and multifaceted. Political decisions, policies, and stability can significantly impact economic outcomes, while economic conditions often shape political landscapes and decision making. Policies on taxation, spending regulation, trade, and monetary policy, among others, are all influenced by political considerations and can have profound effects on economic growth, employment, income distribution, and and overall prosperity. Conversely, economic conditions such as employment, inflation, income inequality, and economic growth can shape both sentiments, and the economy is crucial for comprehending the dynamics of governance, policymaking, and societal development. So, the interaction between the economy is complex and multifaceted. So, politics often shape economic policies, regulations, and institutions, which in turn influence economic outcomes and the distribution sa wealth o sa resources within sa society. So, ang political decisions such as fiscal and monetary policies, trade agreement, taxations, and government spending kan napod sila significant impact sa economic growth, inflation, unemployment, income inequality, and overall prosperity. Similarly sa economic conditions kay makashapes just sa political dynamics as voters' perceptions of their economic sa well-being of the nag-influence po sila sa political preferences of decisions. So, ang various interest groups, lobbyists, and stakeholders frequently nag-engage sila sa political processes para ma-advocate nila ang policies na mag-serve sa ilang economics sa ilang interest. So, the overall is the interactions between the politics and economy is intricate and constantly evolving, with each domain exerting considerate influence pud sila sa mga others. So the next is the free and unfree labor. So in applied economics, the concepts of free and unfree labor play significant roles in understanding labor markets, economic development, and policy implications. So first is the free labor. Free labor refers to employment where individuals are not coerced or restricted in their choice of work. They are free to negotiate terms of employment, wages, and conditions with employers. In free labor markets, individuals have the autonomy to choose their occupation and move between jobs based on their preferences and opportunities. So, the free labor is markets, mo ni sila ang mga individuals nga naa sila mga freedom nga mo-choose sa ilang mga employment without sa coercion. So, maka-negotiate pud sila og terms such as mga wages, working conditions, and benefits with their employment. So, ang free labor markets nag-allow sila og individuals para ma-pursue nila ang ilang preferred occupations. Pwede pa sila maka-switch og jobs based sa ilang personal preferences or opportunities, and generally ma-enjoy nila ang ilang work of choices. So, this system fosters na computation, innovation, and efficiency within the economy. So, the second is the unfree labor. So, on the other hand, involves situations which individuals are coerced or constrained in their choice of work. So, this can include practices such as forced labor, bonded labor, slavery, or other forms of exploitation where individuals are not free to leave their jobs or negotiate fair terms of unemployment. And free labor can exist in both formal and informal sectors of the economy, and it often occurs in contexts of poverty, inequality, or lack of legal protection workers. So, the unfree labor refers sa situations where ang individuals kay na-compelled or constrained sila sa ilang employment choices. So, this can take various forms including forced labor, bonded labor, slavery, or other forms of exploitation. So, in unfree labor conditions, the individuals often lack sila og freedom nga molib sila sa ilang jobs, mo negotiate sila og fair terms sa employment or exercise autonomy in their work decisions. So, dili sila maka hindi sila pwedeng makahawa-hawa sa ilang job diretso. So, ang unfree labor can persist in both formal and informal sectors of the economy, often driven by factors such as poverty, inequality, or inadequate legal protections for workers. So, addressing the unfree labor typically requires intervention such as legal forms, enforcement of labor rights, social programs, and economic development initiatives aimed to addressing underlying socio-economic factors.
Good day, everyone. Today I'm going to discuss applied economists study the dynamics of free and unfree labor markets to analyze various economic phenomena. So, labor market dynamics. They examine how the presence of unfree labor affects overall labor markets outcomes, such as wages, employment levels, and productivity. They also investigate how policies and regulations influence the prevalence of unfree labor and its impact on broader economic performance. So, labor market dynamics refers to the fluctuations and interactions within the labor market, including factors like wages, employment levels, and productivity. So, when discussing the presence of unfree labor in this context, it typically refers to situations where workers are not able to freely negotiate the terms of their employment, often due to coercion, exploitations, or lack of alternative options. So, for example, in regions where there is a prevalence of forced labor or indentured servitude, such conditions can distort the labor markets by artificially surprising wages, reducing job opportunities for free workers, and potentially hindering overall productivity. So next is the economic development. So understanding the extent of unfree labor in an economic is crucial for assessing its level of economic development. Economists analyze the relationship between unfree labor, poverty, and inequality to identify barriers to economic progress and design interventions at promoting inclusive growth and sustainable development. Economic development refers to the process by which a society improves its economic, political, and social being. So, when discussing the extent of unfree labor in an economy in the context of economic labor, can be indicative of underlying issues such as poverty and inequality. So, for example, high levels of unfree labor may be symptomatic of widespread poverty and income inequality within a society. Individuals forced into unfree labor often lack access to education, healthcare, and other essential resources, perpetuating a cycle of poverty and hindering overall economic development. So next is the policy implications. Applied economists study the effectiveness of policies and interventions aimed to combating unfree labor, such as labor laws, enforcement mechanisms, social programs, and international agreements. They assess the costs and benefits of different policy approaches and provide recommendations for policymakers to address labor exploitations while promoting economic efficiency and social justice. So policy implications in the context of combating unfree labor involve studying the effectiveness of various policies and interventions aimed at addressing labor exploitations while promoting economic efficiency and social justice. Applied economists play a crucial role in this by evaluating the costs and benefits of different policy approaches and providing recommendations to policymakers. So, for example, labor laws and enforcement mechanisms are important tools for combating unfair labor. Applied economists may assess the effectiveness of existing laws and enforcement mechanisms in determining labor exploitations and protecting workers' rights. They may also recommend reforms or enhancement to those policies to improve their effectiveness. Risky business. Risky business is a colloquial colloquial term used to describe activities, ventures, or decisions that involve a high level of uncertainty or potential danger. It can refer to anything from financial investment with uncertain outcomes to actions with potential legal or personal consequence. Essentially, risky business implies that there is a significant chance of failure or negative outcomes associated with the activity or decision. So, risky business encompasses activity, ventures, or decisions that carry a considerable degree of uncertainty or potential harm, whether it's investing in a volatile markets, embarking on entrepreneurial ventures with uncertain prospects, or engaging in actions with legal or personal risk. The term encapsulates the idea that the undertaking involves a notable chance of failure or adverse outcomes. So it serves as a cautionary reminder to carefully weigh the potential risk against the potential reward before proceeding with such endeavors. So next is Risky Business is also the title of the popular 1983 American comedy film starring Tom Cruise. In the film, Cruise plays Joel Goodson, a high school student who gets involved in a risky and sometimes illegal activities while his parents are away. The movie is known for its iconic scenes and memorable quotes, and it explores themes of adolescence, risk-taking, and coming of age. So, risky business is not only a colloquial term but also the title of a renewed 1983 American comedy film starring Tom Cruise. And the movie Crows portrays Joel Goodson, a high school student who finds himself entangled in a series of risky and sometimes illegal escape, escape, escapes while his parents are away. The film is celebrated for its iconic scenes, memorable quotes, and explorations of them, such as adolescence, risk-taking, and the journey to adulthood. Through Joel's experiences, the movie delves into the complexities of navigating newfound freedom, making choices, and graphing the consequences of one's actions. Grappling. So, Risky Business has left a lasting legacy in a popular culture and remains a quintessential coming of age film cherished by audiences worldwide.